Ladies and gentlemen, how's it going? Excited? So far, so good? Yeah, everyone's gonna go, oh, it's terrible. I'm very pleased at the size of the crowd, and I'm very excited to see as many people here as there are, and hopefully more will join us. I'm actually on duty right now. If you don't know me, my name is Tom Heyer, and I'm the director of panels for MAGFest. So, yes, indeed. I don't normally get that reaction to my name, so that's always super. I am actually on right now, so if a fire erupts somewhere, I may have to run, and so as soon as I'm done here, I will surrender my position on stage. But before I do, I just wanted to welcome everybody here and start the festivities with a bit of sharing with respect to JewWario and his presence here at MAGFest, and if you'll indulge me, what he meant to me as well. So in addition to the toga, which I'm sure you'll agree is both dashing and appropriate, I hope you'll indulge also a minor departure from the normal sartorial custom. I'm told one normally takes off one's hat, but in this instance, yeah. And that's also actually helping with the light, so that's great. I should begin with one word of warning. Some of you may have seen in the news, or preferably read, a story about a DC metro train that got caught in a tunnel deep underground, filled up with smoke for an hour, and was not evacuated for a goodly while. About 80 people were taken to the hospital, and one lady unfortunately died. I give you one guess. Who in this room managed to board that train one stop before it went into that tunnel? Yeah, so if I start coughing uncontrollably, that's because I inhaled quite a bit of mystery metro smoke, both the source and composition of which has yet to be made public. So yeah, God only knows. But the good people of the District of Columbia have volunteered to take care of my healthcare costs, so that's nice. So, having done away with that bit of literal as well as, I suppose, figurative throat clearing, I wanted to talk a bit about Justin, as I said. I think that if there's a word that distills our purpose here tonight, it would be legacy. It's a difficult anniversary. Most of us, including myself, didn't find out what had happened until a few days afterward, but today is the anniversary of Justin's passing. And legacy, well, I feel as though the term is abused slightly. We use it to mean, you know, people's inheritances, or a piece of old software that's obsolete, or even a kid who gets into college preferentially because his parents went there. In other words, it has a sense of what is kind of passively left behind. And that's not its original or its proper meaning. The term actually comes from the Latin for an embassy, or somebody that you send outward to represent yourself in the wider world. It's related to the word delegation. And that, I think, is what we ought to be thinking about in Justin's case here, not so much the residue of his existence, but what he really projected and sent out to all of us, and what we take up and carry forward. I knew Justin slightly, certainly nowhere near as well as many of the people in this room, but enough to know that he told me many times how much he loved MAGFest. And everyone that I spoke to who was a friend of his said that he just really was one of his favorite things to do all year. And I can tell you, without exception, totally unanimously among the MAGFest staff, the feeling was reciprocated. We adored the man. He was fabulous, he was wonderful, he was always responsible, always prepared, did whatever he said he was going to do, and whatever we asked of him on top of that, and more. He was just one of those people that you meet only too rarely in life, who is simply uncomplicatedly nice. In the purest distillation of that word. And this carried through with his enthusiasm for a lot of the subjects that he liked to cover. He would do these crazy panels. You're probably all familiar with You Can Play This, the series about importing Japanese games, even if you don't speak a word of Japanese. And so I would be kind of walking past whatever room he was in, and he would have taken apart some old FamiKamen system, and it looked like somebody had disassembled the Starship Enterprise, and he was telling everybody, don't worry, just put it all back together, it'll be no problem, fine. And in 10 minutes he would accomplish this. And a few years ago, we started throwing around the idea of doing kind of like a pub quiz type of thing, maybe hosted by some Channel Awesome personalities as team captains, and I mentioned it to Justin, and he said, well, you're not going to believe this, but guess what my day job is? So, turns out that he runs pub quizzes professionally, or ran them, and he volunteered to do that for us. So between his encyclopedic knowledge of video games and video game music, and his sheer charisma and stage presence, he was, of course, the ideal and absolutely perfect choice, and we couldn't have been happier with the way those events went. Those were real parties, and we were happy to host them. But more than his kind of public performing presence, there was also how he was one-on-one. There was, he just had time for everybody, every single fan, every single person who came up to him and said, "You're awesome, dude." And I never quite understood how he could put forward the amount of effort that he did to make everybody around him smile, everybody around him happy, everyone around him feel better, and especially never look like he was really exerting himself in the process. He would stay up all night with people who were just having a hard time, and he would just be fine the next day because he had spent that night asserting his nature, doing what he was born to do. Something that I don't think a lot of other people could have matched, certainly not myself, because I'm a grump. He was just this incredible zero-point energy source of just joy and uplift, and I've never seen anything like it before or since. As for myself, most of my professional dealings with Justin were as the director of panels for MAGFest, but initially the reason I started coming to MAGFest in the first place was because around the time Kickassia dropped, that was when I discovered thatguywiththeglasses.com. It's a fun story. I was stranded in Peru, I'll tell you later. So the first thing I saw of Justin was, the tall guy in the long, cool black overcoat repelling cannon fire with a baseball bat, and I figured, yeah, that's probably somebody to pay attention to. And as it happens, I went to MAGFest 9 because I found out a bunch of these wackos were going to be there, and JewWario was the first one that I saw. He stood out. And, again, immediately, big, bright, the sort of smile that you sort of expect to see on a baby. Just totally unadulterated, unmitigated joy, and he just radiated that everywhere he went. Had very useful advice for me, lots of words of encouragement. I was thinking about maybe launching a project of my own, and I asked people for advice. And actually, on that note, Kaylyn was also there, and I've never forgotten the unbelievable generosity that she showed with her time, so I would like to make note of that as well. Meanwhile, Justin, he was a natural leader. A, because he was tall. But B, because he was, the way he was tuned into people, the way he was clued in, and the way everybody who worked with him really looked up to him and followed him around. And so he sort of became my go-to guy to help me manage the Channel Awesome contingent that would come to MAGFest every year, who could be, I shall diplomatically say, sometimes a colorful bunch. The thing with Justin is that he understood and epitomized an important distinction between being childlike on the one hand, which he was, and childish on the other, which he never was. And so it sounds a bit like a paradox, but it really isn't, to say that in most of the rooms he was in, he was the most responsible and dependable adult. I relied on him a lot. As far as the toga goes, in case anyone was wondering, it has kind of become a MAGFest thing that I just wear this around whenever MAGFest comes along, so that's fine. I'm happy to keep doing it. It was originally supposed to be a part of this, web project that I was thinking about doing, and that involved some discussion of adapting tokusatsu properties from Japanese to American audiences. So I got Justin, got his take on it, and oh yeah, sounds like a good idea. Let's talk about it. Sounds good. Life got in the way. They reached a point where I was really, really down and really discouraged and had kind of given up, not so much on the idea as on my own ability to carry it out. And, oh, this is stupid. What am I bothering with? Why am I doing this? And, as I was venting all this Justin's way, if you go to him and say, I don't know, this is stupid, what was his response? I don't need to tell you. You're not stupid. Correct. I've never forgotten the encouragement that he gave me, and I've never forgotten the enthusiasm for the idea. And it was actually last year that he proved it. Totally unprompted. He saw the value in it and helped me see the value in it, and it wasn't just lip service. He was hosting the pub quiz on this stage last year, and he announced me as I was togaing around by the stage name that I had been planning to use for this thing. And I said, how on earth did you remember that? And it turned out that's how he had me entered into his phone. It was the real deal. a little thing, but, tremendously meaningful to me. And I know that he shared those sort of little things that just managed to cut right to the heart of many of you as well. He really did seem to see the value in everyone, and not in like this cheap, sunshiny way of everybody's special. He assigned and saw and believed in a unique importance to everyone he encountered. I've never seen anything like it. And he made them see it too, which was probably the most important thing he did, or feel it at least. It's unfortunate that you can't really talk about his legacy, especially not in the crowd of people who at least were acquainted with him to the extent that I was, or in whatever degree, without discussing how this is ineluctably colored by the way that he left us. I count myself among thousands of people who knew him well enough to be affected by his loss, but not really well enough to understand with any serious clarity what had happened or why. And that is something that we simply have to live with, as difficult as it can be. To lose him of all people, and in this of all ways, was not just really sad, it was frankly terrifying, at least to me. And a lot of people have used the occasion to implore other people who might be in a similar strait or in a borderline condition, please, reach out, get help, talk to friends, talk to loved ones, get professional help, call a hotline if it comes to it. And that's good advice, and it's a worthy message to send, and it's one that I would take this opportunity to echo. But I feel that there's maybe a little more we can do. Justin's adopted religion of Judaism has a number of unique perspectives on death, but I think probably the most pertinent one is that is the idea, the teaching that we live on in the hearts and in the minds of the people whose lives we've affected, for ill, but especially for good. And I certainly can't claim to speak for anybody but myself, let alone for everyone, but I have a feeling I speak for many when I tell you that the way that he lives on for me is the sense that he gave to me not only that I was valuable, but that I was actively valued. That is the thing that I think I'll miss the most of all, and I think that it behooves all of us, regardless of circumstance, to find the people who are important to us and make sure that they know how they're important and why from time to time. And ultimately, that is about the very best you can do, I think. But for me, I think that's a pretty good way of honoring what Justin sent forth into the world, what he transmitted, his embassy to the rest of us, his legacy. I, and I'm sure all of you, wish that he'd stayed a lot longer, and we're very grateful at the very least for what he was able to share with us and what he was able to give us. Again, he saw value in everybody, and that's not something that most people can do. People just aren't constituted that way for the most part. It's what made him special. He was just lit from within and just tied into the core of people. I had a relatively limited interaction with the man, but since that time, and especially over the last year, I've kind of had this cartoon Justin on my shoulder at all times. Like I said, grump. And I can be very quick to dismiss people, especially if I don't know them or if I'm distracted, which I always am. And now there's the cartoon Justin who says, hang on a second. If Justin were here, he'd see value in this person. And I can't always do that. Sometimes I will and sometimes I won't. But the cartoon Justin makes me at least put the effort in, makes me at least wait for a moment and try. And I have to tell you, that has had a huge impact on a lot of my relationships. So that's how I'll remember him in a more active way than simply what he left behind, but really carry forward what he transmitted to me. That, and I'll remember the hugs, which weren't really, more than hugs, it was sort of like being enveloped in this weird hyperspace field of joy and love tachyons that he somehow created around himself, and I've never really understood how he managed that. But I'll certainly remember that. But how I will relate to other people, how I will transmit the feeling that he was able to provide to me, at least to whatever extent I'm able. That's how I hope, at least, to carry forward a little piece of the bit of him that he shared with me in my own future endeavors. So I offer that as at least the best answer I can come up with in terms of the legacy of JewWario. Second best answer would be this movie, which I am really excited to see. I'll leave Kaylyn to talk more about the story behind how this came about, but from my side of things, I found out about what had happened toward the end of January, and by the end of February, and even going through March, I really hadn't quite been able to accept it for some reason, which is very strange to me, because as I said, as fond as I was of the man, we didn't have like a really close relationship, but I just couldn't quite get out of my mind that something about this was unresolved. So in the middle of April, I decided, okay, I am not normally a person who has the wherewithal to accomplish very much, but for 4 days out of the year, I happen to be a certain position of a certain influence. So I called up Kaylyn, who seemed the natural choice because not only was a close friend of Justin's, but also shares a lot of his interest in tokusatsu series and Japanese in general, and was, I think, working with him on a number of other projects. So seemed like the natural choice, and also just happens to be a lovely human being, which is something that's important in anything having to do with Justin's memory. And I said, this is really bothering me, and I'm wondering if it would make sense perhaps to find some way to finish FamiKamen Rider. And Kaylyn and Josh said, oh my God, we've been thinking the exact same thing. And we even threw a few story ideas around, and basically we were thinking the exact same story, like the exact same thing. And I said, okay, how about this? You guys get it done, I will use my, mercenarily abuse my MAGFest authority to make sure that it gets shown on the anniversary. And then they set to work. The idea was never to do what Justin would have done. It was to build a monument to him. It was to be a tribute and to bring the unfinished work that he did to some kind of fruition in the process. And I saw these guys immediately jump into it with absolutely demonic intensity. And around September or so, when they produced the script, I sent a message. I was starting to get a little skeptical, and I was feeling a little bad. I was like, you've just finished the script and it's mid-September. Maybe we need to retrench from the idea of having a showable movie by January, because that's kind of insane. And I was like, we can do other kinds of stuff. We can maybe put together a really cool trailer, have some scene readings by the actors. It'll be great. We'll still do a MAGFest event, but maybe we're trying to do a little bit too much. And Kaylyn absolutely would not be gainsaid. Listen, buddy, you do not understand. This is happening. It shall be done. And here we stand. And it was amazing to watch it happen. It was amazing to see not only the effort that Kaylyn and Josh put in, but also the way it was crowdsourced and the way people, a huge number of extraordinarily busy and talented people donated their time and their talent and their skills. It is, in every sense of the word, from its earliest conception to the gathering in which we're joined tonight, in every sense, a labor of love. I understand that in its current form, it was rendered out at like 8 o'clock in the morning yesterday, while Kaylyn had like 1 foot out the door trying to get to the plane that she was about to miss. It's an extraordinary effort, and I really can't wait to see what they've cooked up. I'm really thrilled to experience this, and I hope that I'll be able to stay for the whole thing. I may get pulled out. Don't read anything into that. It just means I have panel-y stuff to do, but I certainly hope that I'll be able to see it all. And with that, I will hand over the festivities. So thank you very much.
That's quite live. I want to thank everybody for being here. I want to hopefully be very brief with the words that I say here, because the runtime of this movie is actually significantly longer than I thought it was going to be, and I was very concerned, oh my God, this movie is way too long, nobody's going to want to see this. But then we kind of did this test run of it, and it felt like it flowed a lot better than I was hoping. Now, I want to let you guys know, of course, this is a very rough cut of this movie. I mean, it's definitely point A, point B. You're going to see the whole story. Most glitches and things we already know about, and so that's going to be fixed for a web release. We unfortunately didn't get the closing credits finished, so I want to take some time to thank some people at the end of this web release. Of course, we'll have that. One mistake that I did, in fact, make, of course, at the tail end of any movie, you give a thanks to someone who might have been lost, who was relevant to the production of the film. I got his birth year wrong. I typed 1972 and meant 1971, so that, of course, is going to be fixed later. Most other things, yeah, there's things that are incomplete, but you're going to see a full movie, and I hope you guys get the feel of what we were trying to portray, because I would think that most people didn't really have a grasp on what we were trying to accomplish, but I think tonight you'll finally understand just how much literal literal blood, sweat, and tears went into making this on a micro budget. I think maybe it was at max $300 that was donated, and the rest was basically out of our own pockets. So, Josh, if you wanted to say anything,
first and foremost, again, thank you all for coming out here. It means a lot to us. As you might have heard us say before, we weren't sure when we were first approached by Tom, not just whether or not we could do this, but whether or not we should do this. And the more we thought about it, we came to the conclusion, yes, this needs to be done. People want this. People want to share in this and have, as we said before, one last ride with this hero. So in working on this, all of the hours, man-hours, scripting, going from point A to point B, filming, all the people who submitted their submissions, we couldn't have done it without any of you. And we all understand that this was all done for the love of this man who touched each and every person in this room.
Yeah, I want to add to that idea. We know that nobody in this room is in this room because we made a movie. You're in this room because you're paying tribute to Justin. We have no... And that's about it. I want to actually introduce, Greg is here with us. He's one of our grunts in the movie. On the far end is Chris. Chris is our next leading role character, so you're going to see a whole heck of a lot of him in this movie. And he's, none of the people aside from Josh here are trained actors, and yet I feel like we couldn't have picked a better person for our lead role than Chris, and so I think you guys are going to see that plain as day. I don't know if anybody else wanted to say anything else, but I think...
I think, well, yeah, we should probably get to it. But at the least, from having talked to everybody over the last year, hearing the stories, the feelings shared, the way every story seemed to kind of coincide, the lessons that came across in a way, you're not stupid, you're worth something. The way he came across to everybody, we tried our best to get that story across to somebody in this project who doesn't know who he is at the outset, but hopefully over the course of these next hour and change, you'll see for yourself that even now, a lot of people still are affected by our friend. So I think holding off on comments until the end, we would like to present to you guys for the first time, farewell, FamiKamen Rider.
遊んでばかり本当にこいつはヒーロー迫る願いを誰が戦うかファミカメンライダー最後のワリオン戦士ベルトを使えばさ変身だファミカメンライダーこの男なめんなよゲームのレビューをしなきゃいけないのさビザゲーム
I just want to ask really most of you guys to sit down just for a second because I want to ask if there's anybody in this room who contributed to this project in any way, shape, or form. If you acted, if you submitted a video, if you contributed either monetarily or through item donations or you helped in the previous Indiegogo that Justin was trying to work on, I'd like for you to stand up right now so that you guys can also...
Thank you guys so much.
That's a lot of people in this room. This could not have happened without all of you standing up right now. So thank you. Thanks, guys. Well, where do we go from here? We were told that since this was the last panel of the evening, that there could be some additional time to carry on.
For questions or comments that you guys had.
Yeah.
Come on up to the mic, Katie.
Hey guys, I'm Katie, or Kitty as he called me. Justin was my best friend and my hero. The last gift I ever gave him was a copy of the album The Next Day by David Bowie, and the cover of it is a redesigned version of his Heroes album from the 80s. I enclosed a note with that. Dear Justin, you don't have to be my hero just for one day, because you'll be my hero forever and ever. He sang that song on Rock Band at my first MAGFest. I can't listen to any David Bowie song, especially from that damn movie, without thinking of him. One of his favorite songs was Birdhouse in Your Soul by They Might Be Giants. Bluebird of friendliness, like a guardian angel, I'm always there. Justin is my blue canary in the outlet by the light switch, and he will always watch over me. I'll always have a little birdhouse in my soul for Justin. I love you guys.
I want to say that this was an especially difficult project for us, not just because we were running on a really no money budget, but emotionally as well. It sort of meant that I wasn't very capable of mourning properly because I had to keep seeing Justin's face every single day. I think a lot of people don't understand how much time and effort just a couple of people put into this every single day. And for that reason, I thank you guys for giving us the chance.
Yeah.
Any of you guys want to say anything? I really want to, like I said before, nobody but Josh is professionally trained in acting, but Chris, we couldn't have picked a better lead.
It's my first acting gig, so thank you. Thank you. Thank you guys. I really, going through this whole project, words can't describe how I feel when I was going through this whole project. Like every single day as I kept doing filming and working with this project, I only met Justin once personally, and well, not even met him per se, but we talked when he had his Monster Hunter 3 stream quite some time ago. We only talked just once, but the time when I told him that I was a fan of him, I mean, he expressed it in a way I never expected. Like, his fans meant the world to him. Like, absolutely positively meant the world to him. And even though I only met him that one time, I felt as I kept working with this project, I personally felt spiritually wise that I felt his support doing this project. I mean, that's just me, that's my own opinion, say it as you will, but I personally felt it. And I'm just grateful, very, very grateful that Kaylyn and Josh gave me this opportunity to work with this project and to be a part of this. And that's all I got to say about that.
Greg up here was a grunt for many of these scenes. The most grunts we ever had at any one given time were three people. Sometimes it was only two. And Greg was most of those grunts in the scene of everybody, of Nintendo, of all of Miyamoto's stuff getting stolen. That's Greg 3 times.
It's just me.
Yeah. As you can understand, it's very hard to put a project like this together. One, with the emotional weight, and two, it's just kind of hard getting a lot of people's schedules together. So in total, it was about 15 days to shoot this thing over the course of 3 months, which kind of makes sense because, we had to get everybody together. And kind of like Kaylyn said, we've been working on this thing ever since we were approached by Tom, almost literally day and night, every day, designing something, working on something, trying to figure out how to fund something, getting in touch with people. And to see all of you here today and seeing that you guys get it on the same level we got it, that means the world to me, that we all still think as highly of Justin 1 year later than we did before. So thank you guys for even coming out here. Thank you guys.
I very strongly also want to thank Matt, who also was the suit actor both for Sufami and FamiKamen Rider, and did the majority of the special effects on this, which some of them he'll say, well, they need to be fixed up for the web version, but man, even so, it's amazing.
To that, we cannot thank you enough.
Yeah, absolutely, dude. Thank you.
I guess we'll go ahead and take a minute or two if you guys have any comments or questions about how we did this, or...
Really, the plan was come up to this mic, although either this mic isn't on. It's entirely possible it's just plain not on. But, I mean, we can hand you a mic.
Just shout.
Or just raise your hand and that'll work.
Yes, sir.
Yeah.
There you go.
We'll make that the official mic.
It's fine.
Hi, my name is Peter. I go by Gonzo Link online. I've been a fan of Justin since I discovered his work on You Can Play This and became a fan of his live streams. And I've wanted to come to this is my first MAGFest, and I'd wanted to come to MAGFest for very many years, but I just never have had the opportunity. And I will say that this is certainly a bittersweet moment to arrive on MAGFest on. But I will say, though, that although I never got the chance to meet Justin in person, as a journalism student, I did get the chance to interview him just independently, and it truly is amazing just how wonderful of a man he was, how patient, how kind, and how just understanding he was with. If you had problems getting something together, he would be patient in helping you just work it out, all that stuff. But out of all the moments, I really do cherish the opportunity to get to talk to him and just get to chat with him about this and that and whatever, how he does this stuff. But what really struck me, though, is at the end when I told him, just thank you very much for taking the time to do this, and he just said to me, my friend, thank you for caring about what I have to say. And to me, that's him. It wasn't about what he did; it was about the people that he reached by doing it, and that's how I remember him. So, thank you.
I'm Dodger of Zion. This is my 5th MAGFest, and honestly, what a hell of a MAGFest to mark that milestone. Because honestly, if it weren't for Justin, this probably would not have been a regular thing. I remember very distinctly one night, 2:30 in the morning, I get a contact from a friend of mine on Skype, because I had mentioned, I'm going to go to MAGFest, I just need to figure out how, I don't know how I'm going to do this. And suddenly I get the Skype ringtone, that annoying ringtone that I'm sure pretty much everybody in this room is muted by now.
We know
that doesn't count, Kitty. But and I see a friend of mine, and then I see Justin JewWario Carmical. And up until that point, I had never spoken to the man. I had not even stopped by his stream yet. And then he just said to me, you know, kiddo, you got to get yourself in gear. You got to get yourself a room. And it was 2:30 in the morning, so I was kind of half asleep, so my brain was kind of blarg, what's for breakfast? But there was something about what he said to me and how he said it that just, it lit a fire under my ass. And within the next week, I got a roommate, I got a room. And I also had another room because I couldn't stay for the whole thing at the Bark Center. We all remember that place. But I wouldn't have had that foundation, that stability, that floor under my feet, that pillow under my head. Freaking roommate stole my cut, I swear to God. But I would not have had a third of the experience that I got if it had been for him. I remember the abortive Blood Rain 2 riff, and I had picked up Lewis, and I met Spoonie, and I'm thinking, okay, where's Justin? I see that yellow hat, and I'm like, I say to my friends with me, I'm like, excuse me a minute, I gotta go say hi to somebody. And I poke him in the back, and he turns around and he's got this slasher smile, and I'm like, maybe I shouldn't have done this. And I just said, hi Justin, I'm Dodger. And I think I heard 3 of my ribs crack, because that dude has a grip like a freaking face hugger, let me tell you. But honestly, I think this is a hell of a way to get MAGFest started, because I miss him very much. I miss him every day. From every con from this point onward, these are going to be on my feet. And Kaylyn, I cannot thank you enough for doing this, for telling Justin's story one more time, and I thank you once more. Thank you, guys.
I saw this hand go up before these others.
Hello, my name is Charles Thomas. I go by Duke CT online, and I don't really have the emotional type of connection like most of you guys here with Justin Carmical. But this is, I have been going to MAGFest for so long, and the first time I met Justin, it was actually, I think it was MAGFest 9, and I was up there early, back in the old hotel where, it was like only barely people, just like you couldn't really fit in, like barely, like it was like 3,000 people, they barely got everyone in, and I was in line to get the pass. And I saw him there, I was like, and the first thing I said to him was, hey man, I know you're a big star, but it looks like you got to wait in line like the rest of us. and he had this smile, he says, yeah, he says, hey, that's fine. And he's the 10 line, and he actually had like a little conversation with him. He was very nice, very warm, and every time I went to MAGFest, I just waited to see him. Like, if I all the other guys from Channel Awesome, whatever, I like the car, all those guys, like I can't wait to see them. But I always said like JewWario. I was like, I always, I watch his stuff and everything, but. He, when I see him at MAGFest, I was like, yes, he's here. It's like, there's like one smile. I only have like maybe a passing, like maybe 2 or 3 minutes with him, but I was like, man, I always like seeing him. It was great. It was nice. And this movie you guys made was great. The comedy was great too. it was funny in the right places, and it was dramatic in the good places as well. So y'all did one hell of a job. And seriously, you guys gotta clap him again, because this was a great story, and hopefully this will continue his legacy of JewWario's and Justin Carmical's legacy for until forever. Just that's all I gotta say.
Thanks. Thank you very much.
I saw this hand in the front row going up first.
Yes.
Hello, my name is Krista. I go by KMag1Up online. This is my third MAGFest. On November 16th, 2011, I tried to kill myself. I survived, thankfully, with my ex-husband waking me up every hour. I had taken sleeping pills. After that, I had no holidays left, so I turned to online to Channel Awesome, and I watched you guys, and you gave me hope, and you gave me something I didn't think I had. The first time I met Justin was Otakon. He was walking down the hallway in his Yankee J costume, and I was just floored because it was the first time I'd seen anyone from online existing. I walked up to him and I went, are you JewWario? And he's like, yes, I am. And I was thankfully able to have like a solid 3-hour conversation, just standing there, people walking up, taking pictures, just talking, bullshitting, everything. He gave me something that no one had ever given me before. He remembered me. Every time I saw him, no matter how little information I gave him, he remembered that little information, the little tidbit. You know, how's that job you were in before? Does it still suck? Is it still paying something? Because of that, I will always remember him with my tattoo for him, for support. Thank you.
Do we want to start doing like a line so that let's start
If you guys could, just for the sake of orderliness, just form a line right here, and we'll just hand it off in order there.
So, yeah. So, yeah.
And just pass it to the
If you'd like
person
to-
behind you after that.
Yep.
Hi, I'm Holly, Brittle Panda. In December of 2013, a week before Christmas, my dad died of a heart attack. And up until that point, I was like so ready to go to MAGFest. And when he died, I'm like, no, I can't. There's too much to do. I can't do it. And so I went to Dodger Stream, and Justin was in the chat. And I was like, yeah, I can't go. And he's like, oh man, I really wanted to meet you. And I was like, you know what? You know, I'm gonna make it up there. I'm gonna make it up there. And during the entire con last year, I didn't tell anybody that my dad had died, because I was like, I don't need to be sad, I need to be happy. I need to get my mind off of everything that has happened. And the last day of the con, I go to the RetroWare vendor panel, and Justin's there. I bought these buttons, and I was like, I want a hug from you. And he's like, all right. Well, none of the guys would move, and I was like, I'll get it later. He's like, no. And he crawled under the table to give me a hug. But I don't know how he knew, but he whispered in my ear, I know your dad's gone, but you're always going to have those memories. Just cling on to them, and you'll be okay. And I always live with those words in my head. And he was a great person. And you, as everyone says, you would walk up as a stranger and leave as a friend.
I was not fortunate enough to really get to know Justin Carmical. I had been fortunate enough to make his friends list in a couple of games, and for what little amount I did talk to him, he was very nice. And I really had hoped that I would be able to get to know him much better over time. But just the sheer amount of positivity that he has radiated to everyone, and obviously a lot of the people here, I hope that that all the good things that he has projected are the things that will stick. and that no sadness will ever stay as long as all the good memories and the good times. And I think this was a wonderful tribute to him. And as I thought about it today, there are a lot of things that I have been introduced to through Justin Carmical and his videos. I actually own a Hanafuda deck now. After he did that, I like hopped online to see how many points I had, and just I was like, I will catalog everything so I can get these Hanafuda pieces, so I can learn how to play this, and maybe one day I will play it with somebody who understands this. Certain foods I wouldn't have tried if not for his "You Can Cook This," and just I've even gotten into Kamen Rider recently. So I mean, just I see how it's been going, and I don't think the Wario cap will ever have the same meaning again. So thank you all for what you did, and I know it had to have been hard on you, but you did a great thing, and I hope this continues to spread, like I said, the positivity that he exuded to others.
Thank you.
First of all, thank all of you for this. My first MAGFest was 2012, and it'll take me a second. First person I saw, y'all, how many here saw the Con Bravo tribute for Justin or participated in it? Or, you know. Okay, you remember the story where they were talking about Justin going to this really awesome Subway because of the cheese and everything? Very first time I met Justin was when he was finishing that sub. It was like a backstory to my own introduction. It was really weird. I see him sitting over there, and I'm thinking, okay, I'm kind of a nervous guy, got a little anxiety. I'm gonna go meet this guy. Walked over. I had 4 ribs, Dodger. Where are you? 4 of mine got crushed by him when he hugged me. It's all good. Every time I saw him during the con, he would make it a point to talk to me about what I was doing. I was doing reviews on Amazon.com, still am. Took a break for a while, but I did this one review with my daughter, who's now 13, who never got the chance to meet Justin. And she had me record a video for him last year. You know, simple one, you know, kind of, hey Justin, how you doing? Nice to meet you. He was sitting right over there at about 3 o'clock in the morning after he finished the pub quiz last year, and I played it for him. And he said, don't go anywhere. After the quiz is over, you know, once we get this done. He recorded a little greeting for her, which I still have on my phone. And my daughter thought that was just the greatest gift in the world, that this guy on the internet that she never got the chance to meet did something so nice for her. When I told her the day that we all found out what happened, she went downstairs and made a time capsule. She wrote 3 pictures, didn't show them to me, but put them in a box and said not to open until 2020. So I get to look forward to opening that box and seeing the artwork that she did for Justin, and she actually gave him some pictures too. It's just, he had this effect on everybody in this room, people he never even met, that just made you feel so good about yourself and that you wanted to share with other people. That's what I'll remember the most about him.
My name is Christian Urena. I go by DJ Kidna online. Sometimes credited as just Kidna. And for those wondering, the reason why I'm wearing the Waluigi hat and not the Wario hat is I could never feel like I could wear that hat personally. And the thing is like Waluigi in the games, I just came out of nowhere. And he took me in, like family, like family. And,
well,
I know he
did you
did
come
that
out
for a
of
lot
nowhere playing tennis, though?
No, I didn't come out of nowhere playing tennis.
We're at the party. Did you go to the parties?
But he he treated me like a brother, like we'd been friends forever from the first day we met, and that emotion definitely showed through with your guys' work. So thank you.
You know, we debated on using a nomad for a while for the villain, to be honest with you. Seriously.
It's kind of like that.
Actually, what ended up happening was we were looking for a nomad, and we found a Game Gear, and then it just worked better. So it was all about availability.
This thing's too bulky, honestly.
We thought the Game Gear was too bulky.
Yeah.
It's heavy.
Wow. My name is Andy Collins, hard guitar on YouTube at AndyHD Works. The first time, I unfortunately did not get too much time with him, as many of you have, but the first time I ever heard of You Can Play This, I was having probably the worst fucking times of my life. I was going into my senior year of high school. My cousin died the previous week before I went into it. Everything just felt nothing but bleak. And there was just something about his videos that I really didn't get from other reviewers at the time. There was just something legitimate with him. Like, he wasn't just being, some character. And at later conventions, when I first met him at Otakon in 2012, which was another stressful time of my life. It was a time where I lost my aunt to alcoholism, and all the people I knew as friends just weren't. But as soon as I saw him walking the halls as Yankee J, just giving that smile just gave me better hope for the entire weekend, and just made me feel like I mattered. And then I wanted to meet him once again, just as a thank you for just having his videos, for just being around to help people in their darkest times. I wanted to go to the MAGFest following that, but stuff got in the way. But when it came to 2014, which was a bittersweet time, looking back at it, I finally got to feel like I belonged with him. And this hat right here was how we first started talking, because he was just a fan of everything. Isn't that right? I mean, he liked Doctor Who, the classic and the new ones, and of course the Kamen Rider, MLP, yeah, and he just treated me like, I guess like everyone said, just like a family member, How many people you meet at a convention who you barely know, treat you like that? You don't get that. You don't get that often. And last words I said to him was, thank you for coming to MAGFest. I needed this big time, as the couple weeks before I lost somebody else, a very close person, one of my pastors at church, and who suddenly died. So MAGFest was just a way to get away from all that. And Justin really filled the void I was just feeling from losing such an influential man in my life. And I just remember I was just trying to make videos saying how much I was just enjoying MAGFest. Like how I just had the time of my life. Meeting, just hanging out with Justin. the one reviewer that my mom likes, who she calls, "Hey, why is Dan Aykroyd reviewing this Japanese game?" I was just finishing one video where I was watching footage of him just hanging around. And unfortunately, I saw the news. And after losing so many people who really get you in life, you know, how can you continue with anything? It just came as a huge blow. I only kept going because he wouldn't want any. I mean, as much as we cried tonight, seeing and hearing his words, I had to remember he wouldn't want me to sit and mourn him this whole time. He would just want me to just, you know, just make every day like the best damn day of my life. As much as I miss him, I will not dwell on why he's not with us anymore, but, you know, I'm just going to remember him for all the great things he did. Whether he's teaching me how to play Umahari Kawase, wearing a kilt for the pub quiz, or, you know, just having a nice smile to him that just makes you feel so much better every time you see him. I will not forget that. Thank you.
Hi, my name is Odwin, and the first time I met Justin was at Otakon, and I didn't really know much about him at the time. My friend had showed me him, and the first time I saw his video, I was just like, who is this guy? He seems not very genuine. He seems like an caricature, thank you. But then I got to meet him at Otakon, and he actually took the time after I talked to him in the room that Christian was staying with him in, and he actually took the time to take a call with my friend to talk to him because my friend was a fan of him, and that really blew me away. And that actually happened to be my first Otakon, and also the unluckiest Otakon I've ever had because my back went out. And on the first day, so I missed a good chunk of stuff I actually wanted to see. So they actually there in the room for a bit while I was in pain on the bed and I can barely move. But he actually remembered on one of the days before we left that my back was hurting. And when he actually gave me a hug, he was actually gentle, and I didn't, crush any ribs. But but I will remember him for just for the very few amount of times I did talk to him, just the positivity he did just radiate from him. And it was just great meeting him, and I will miss him, but I will do my best to be a positive person towards others.
Hello, my name is Lindsay. Most of you know me as Lala, or my reviewer tag is Comrade Giddy. If you don't know the latter, don't worry, I'm not that famous yet. I first met Justin, it must have been his first Otakon, my second. And he was the first one that day that recognized me cosplaying as Gur from Invader Zim. And that just sort of snowballed, everyone else finally recognizing me as Gur. Cut to a few years later at my first MAGFest, his umpteenth MAGFest, I'm sure. I got dragged to dinner with him and a bunch of other reviewers. And I'm sitting on my hands, trying not to geek out, vibrating through the chair. And I finally, asked him, you probably don't remember me, but we met at Otakon. He goes, no, I remember you clearly. You were dressed as Gur, and I'm really happy to see you here. I hope we get to hang out more at MAGFest, and sure enough, we did. That MAGFest, on my Facebook page, I have as a header of me and him. I'm not going to change that ever. Because right after that, he agreed to do a crossover review with me. I think we had narrowed it down to The Last Samurai we were going to review. Unfortunately, that's never going to happen now. But we had kept correspondence all through then for quite a while. And a while later, I had been terribly betrayed by 4 people, one right after another, and was not a good week for me. I don't know if he knew this or not, but he probably saw the signs. I was getting more and more depressed with the things I was posting online that night. And it was late at night. I was surprised he was still up. But he contacted me, said, I'm worried about you. What's wrong with you? Why are you so depressed? What's going on? And I told him the whole story about people betraying me and felt like I didn't have much of a support system left anymore. And he told me nearly verbatim of the ending video that we saw, look, I care about you. Please get better. I will talk to you all through the night. And he pretty much did. For an hour straight, we talked back and forth, and he helped me, get past that little hurdle there. And he didn't know it because I didn't tell him, but I'm sure that he had an inkling of what was going to happen. But there were a bottle of pills on my desk that I was going to take that night. And I was already down through a very big bottle of alcohol, and I was going to finish the rest of it and do the irreversible. And on the video it said, mentor, teacher, friend, hero. He really was my hero. Sorry. And my fiance told me what happened with Justin, 2 nights after it had happened. And I broke down, told him everything that had happened, and he said that he's glad that Justin did that because he has a debt to Justin that he could never repay to him, and we are forever thankful that he took the time to talk to me. So now I take the time to talk to people that I see, the warning signs with them, and I make it my mission to make sure that no one else goes through such a thing, because I will never, ever put those thoughts in my head ever again, and it's thanks to Justin because of that.
Hey guys, I'm Pat Hazard. I did some of the music for the movie, so.
Thank you, it was awesome.
It was.
No problem.
Just make a note.
I'm gonna keep mine fairly brief just because I know time constraints, everything, it's 3 o'clock in the morning. Justin meant a huge detriment to me. He pushed me in the path of music because I was noodling around in video, which I was losing quickly passion for. And his FamiKamen Rider project, I had donated a track, a music track, which now lives in this film. It's one of the tracks used for the final battle. And I'm forever grateful and proud that I could be part of both wonderful projects and be forever, I don't do words well, but
you do music well.
You do. Thank you. I appreciate that. But yeah, basically that goes into what I was going to say was that the music is what I could say for Justin. That is my tribute. Because for every word or syllable or word I would say, I'd rather put a note down or a guitar chord or something else. Because that seemed to be a more fitting tribute from me than anything else. So thank you guys so much.
Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you.
Okay, hi. I'm Mouse. That is all I am. I don't do anything except be Mouse. And, oh yeah, also that one married me, and You'll just have to ask her why. But at some point in our friendship, I became Justin's lesbian bodyguard. And it was, you know, it was like an honorary title just whenever we were at the same con. It was kind of an excuse for me to hang out with him because he was the only person I always knew at all the cons I went to. But I took it kind of seriously. Oh, yeah. As you can imagine, some of the lines from that really hit home with me. But I don't want to talk about me. I want to talk about the pizza story. Oh, God, yes. It was at Con Bravo, and Kitty and Justin and I were in a hallway. He had just finally gotten some lunch for the guests from the Con Bravo staff, and he got some for us too. And so he's in the hallway, and he took like 2 bites of pizza. He puts it down because people are constantly being like, oh, hi, JewWario, and getting him to sign things. They want to talk to him. They want to shake his hand. They want to hug him. And I'm sitting there, and I'm wearing my full lesbian bodyguard outfit. It's hot. Thank you, wife. Oh, that's a whole world you don't know about. But at some point, I say, Justin, honey, take off the hat, sit down, and eat your damn pizza. And he looks at me like I'm from outer space, and he's like, I wouldn't be here if it weren't for these people. And then he told me to eat the pizza. So that to me was Justin. And it wasn't just like, this is my adoring public and I have to, you know, blow kisses and wave from my carriage. No, it was individual people who loved him and supported him, and every single person meant so much to them. Not just as another hit on his videos, as unique people with these unique stories, how you met him, how he helped you. Those were important to him. Everything about you was important to him. I think the only person that he didn't feel that for was himself. But he loved us so much. And it's no surprise that he touched so many people. And just one last thing is that when I was sitting there watching the video, especially toward the end, the climactic battle, and I keep shaking Ven's shoulder and Zed's shoulder and being like, oh my God, he would have loved this. Oh, I am so sure. I could practically hear him being like, oh my God, did you see that? I look awesome. I think he would have just adored this. I think he does. I think he's really proud of you guys.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Hello, everyone. I'm Carl. I go by the name of Euron sometimes, and I'm a nervous wreck right now. It's the first time talking in front of a bunch of people that I can actually see. The first time I met Justin was at FamiKamen 2011. It's also where I met Mark and Samantha Fujita, a lovely couple. And I was walking around the floor, and I saw his big yellow hat. I was like, there's no way that could be him. He can't be here. And there he was, just standing there. And he was talking to me for a little bit, and he turned to Samantha. He's like, where'd Mark go? I was like, oh, he's somewhere. So he went off to find him. And then Mark came back and asked, where did Justin go? Well, he went to find you. So he went to go find Justin. Then Justin came back, and I was just thinking, please let this turn into a sitcom right now. Please let this just keep going. Yeah. And Mark came back, and Justin stayed, and I was like, damn. But he had a very kind personality. He was very easy to get along with. And every time I saw him, I'd stop, I'd talk to him, and he'd have no problem with it. He'd just be like, hey, how's it going? Last MAGFest, I got to see him while he was doing one of the booths. I asked him to get a picture, and he was like, okay, sure. I went to reach over the table, and he ducked, went under the table, crawled over, and stood up, and went, all right, let's take the pictures. You could have just reached over. No, it's better if we're next to each other. Okay, I'm not going to question it. But when I heard the news, it hurt really hard, because not even a week before, I was contemplating suicide myself. And it's never easy to admit, it's never easy to go through. And knowing that someone like him, who's so nice to everyone, who's such a beautiful person, would feel that way was painful and awful. And I hope that no one here ever feels that way, ever. Thank you, guys.
I binged his videos pretty much in one night years ago. I was like, who is this guy? He's awesome. He likes Japanese stuff. I like Japanese stuff. And he later did a cooking show. And I was like, my hobby's cooking. I'm going to use this wok and cook all the rice balls and blah, blah, blah. In fact, that's how I learned how to cook most of my meals, because I love Japanese meals. And I just started a friendship with him shortly before he died. This MAGFest was the one where, not this MAGFest, but last MAGFest was the one where we got to know each other better. We never got to finish our conversation about anime. I just wanted to click with him, and I'm just so happy when he friended me on Facebook, and I was like, holy crap, this cool guy wants to be friends with me, and we're gonna be awesome, and maybe I could convince him to go to a con with me, and it didn't happen. And when I realized how he died, it just hurt me in a way, because I didn't think he knew how that felt too. And it's probably one of the most probable ways I'm probably gonna go someday. But he's just. It's okay. Yeah, in fact, the last words he told me was to take care of this guy, which I will, as long as you let me. But yeah, I just wish that I had more time to be a friend to him, because I was just a fangirl. And I wanted to be a fangirl friend and hang out and anime and manga and weird Japanese games and crap. And yeah, because for me, MAGFest is all about fun and friendship and party. But he's not here to enjoy it. So for the rest of MAGFest, this is a decree from me. We're going to have fun and party and make friends, because that's the type of thing he would do with us.
For Justin.
Damn right. This will probably be our last one. I wish it wasn't this way, but.
Hi, everybody. My name's Tony. This is my 4th MAGFest. I'm going to go ahead and get the dark shit out of the way first, and then it'll get lighter. I attempted suicide the first time when I was 10 years old. Didn't have anything to do with my family life. My family was wonderful. I love them. It was other factors that were adding up to that, but that's not important. As the years went on, I started to try to find an outlet for just try to get my mind off of everything. And that led me to finding The Nerd. That led me to finding Channel Awesome. And I was just like, okay, this is cool. I have a distraction now, bitching. So, so I got the news. I actually found out about MAGFest through Channel Awesome, and I got to meet a multitude of wonderful people. I got to meet Justin for the first time. I did an interview with him. I know nice is the word that's being thrown around to describe him, but it's the most fitting. Very open, very candid. And afterwards, he was just like, well, you want to hang out, get something to eat? And I was just like, all right, sure, whatever. But as I kept coming back, he, like, I thought, like, the next year, I was like, okay, I've talked to him one time. He's not gonna know me from Adam. You know, it's just like, hi, strange person, whatever. But he came up to me, he's like, Tony, come here, get over here, now. And he introduced me to more people. Through Justin, I got to meet Matt, who is my very dear friend. I love him like a brother. I met through him. I got to meet Kitty, also very cool chick. And when I heard about what happened, I did not want to believe it. I was just like, this has got to be some kind of screwed up hoax. Like somebody's just trying to start stuff. And as it went on, I realized that this is real. Shit's gone down. So, it made me really think about like what I'm doing with my life, and I am standing here now because of him, because he would Skype me or call me at random times, anytime, day or night. And I remember last MAGFest, I got a text. Didn't know the number. It was like, come find me, I'm wearing a kilt. And I typed back, who is this? And and when I found him, it was like same song, second verse. It was just like nothing had changed. And I can stand here right now and say that for the first time last year, I have made no attempts on my life for the very first time. And I've actually gone into a point where people are coming to me for help or advice, and I'm still trying to get my head around that. It's just like, I don't know, just don't, no. But I also want to take this opportunity, Kaylyn, Josh, everybody, to thank you. I know I had talked to you specifically about, I admit I was skeptical. I was just like,
I don't blame you.
Yeah.
I really don't.
Yeah,
This was a hard,
I tried to be as inoffensive as possible. I was just like,
no feelings were hurt, man.
And I realize now that my skepticism was completely unfounded, and I do want to apologize for that.
No apologies necessary. You had the same questions that anybody else would have had.
We were worried ourselves, like how this would do. Like, I feared that people would walk out because I didn't know like how well it would go tonight, and I appreciate everyone for being here.
Yeah.
I know it's late. I know it's the first night, but thank you all very much for giving us your time.
But I will just end with saying that this couldn't have been the better send-off for him. I think he would have been very proud, and thank you.
Thanks. I want to encourage, if there are people who still want to talk with one another about Justin, I highly recommend that you do. We just can't stay. And to wrap everything up, I think there was one last thing in regards to the movie and in regards to Justin that I did want to say, and then just end it there. Yeah. And that's, I'm hoping that this came across, and I'm not sure if it did, so if it didn't, I want to say this much. That entire revelation that MarzGurl thinks she's the reason that both Yankee J and JewWario are gone, that is absolutely allegory for the people left behind for suicide. And the reason why I wrote it the way that I did was because there was myself, there were other people saying, I wish I had done this, I wish I had done that, if only I had done blah, blah, blah. And you cannot do that to yourself. because I did it to myself, because I was kicking myself for a long time because I was supposed to go to Colorado and I was supposed to be in Justin's original project. And when that all fell through, I knew Justin was very sad and disappointed, and I kicked myself thinking, oh, I should have spent the money that I actually didn't have to get to Colorado. And you can't do that to yourself. I couldn't have made it. I couldn't have made it, even though in my head I'm beating myself up for not having done it. You cannot do that to yourself. And I don't think that the people gone would want you to do that to yourself either. So absolutely, that is the message that we intend to deliver in that scene. And I hope you guys carry that with you as well, because I know some people also felt the same way I did. And it was very hard for me, even still, to move past. And I just thank you for giving us this opportunity to share this message. So thank you.
Thank you all for coming out. We appreciate it very much. Thank you.